Hey guys, welcome to another great episode of Salty Talk. We are so excited to be with you. We got an amazing topic to discuss today. So I'm so excited to announce to you all my wonderful, wonderful co-host, Miss Becky, in the heartland of the country in Kentucky.
Hey
And
y'all.
then we got Erica on the left side, the best side, the west side.
Oh, I
Celebrate
like
my
that.
day.
Can you say
Oh,
that
come
every
on
time?
now.
Oh,
Oh my
wow.
Yeah.
gosh.
Sorry, Becky.
Yes.
But
I know. It really is. I
And
mean,
you
what
know, you
ifs?
know how it goes. And then you got myself. I'm in the desert, Phoenix, AZ. Soon to be a new location, but we'll leave you in suspense for that one. So,
To be
hey,
determined.
we are approaching this time of year where we're going to talk about the holidays, how we approach the holidays as
Mm,
community ministers, as churches, as people that are bent towards generosity. And this is going to be amazing discussion. So, how do we navigate? How do we make the holidays more, I don't know, more potent, right? More
mm,
exciting. How do we communicate in a way where we want to highlight the holidays? I can talk, but then also perpetuate the holiday spirit beyond just November and December. So we're going to be talking
yeah.
about all of that. This is a really, as we like to say, juicy discussion. So it will definitely span more
Ooh,
than one
juicy.
episode. So
Hmm.
please tune in, click all the stuff, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and then check out our website at communityminister.network. This discussion is really going to be healthy, and we hope that it can give you, as a community minister or leader, some tactical ways on how to be more
Mm,
effective in your outreach efforts during the holidays. And then maybe you're a church or organization that is looking to be more effective in the community space. So we think that there's some value to be added to your efforts as well. So as
love
we
that.
jump into it, I'm gonna throw a little bounce pass to my partner in crime, Miss Becky King, as
I
we
love me
get
some
into this
Jerome.
discussion.
I'm really glad we're having this conversation because the tactical piece is a really important part of just the holidays. The community ministry, it is the biggest deal, right? It is like the Super Bowl. Christmas and Easter, it's when all the people come, it's when all the people serve, it's when all the people give for the most part. Especially our members, they show up and they're ready to give and to bless others. So I feel like we need to really, kind of capitalize on that a little bit. Statistics show that people just come out of the woodwork for these special, special things. So,
True.
if we look for those opportunities and we know that they're coming, why wouldn't, we give that opportunity to our members? It's a perfect tee up. It's what we call low hanging fruit. And to really lean into those opportunities to maybe reach beyond what we thought we could
mhm.
with other organizations and things like that. So yeah, I mean that's really what we're after in this part. So I'd love to get into like some tactical details and practical details.
Yeah, and I feel like you're saying, people are ready to respond. And there's this sense, this culture, this gratitude that I think
Mhm.
comes up for a lot of people. Holidays can be really difficult for so many, but
Yeah.
there's this culture, this sense of gratitude, and then this interest and yearning to respond and to be generous and to pour out love on other people that maybe are not as fortunate as wherever you find yourself in. And so this, in our role, right, we are able to we have to figure out how to capitalize on that in the ways of connecting people to real needs and real people in the community that we work with all the time. And I feel like the coolest thing has been when we had this kind of aha moment where our system that we had built for these holiday wish lists wasn't necessarily set up to be able to integrate someone that doesn't attend our church, which was like,
Mm,
hello. Um, this sometimes is the first touch point for people that are unchurched or dechurched to do something alongside people that care about others. They may never step foot in your church, but man, should we build systems and things that are open to be able to have anybody sign up for them? And then how cool if we get a chance to follow up with those people and go, thanks so much for fulfilling a wish list, but man, we'd love to have you back to help do, work in the same
Yes.
initiative or the same cause. So
Yes. Agreed. Well, and I mean, like an example of that low hanging fruit would be, I'm here for the first time. It's Christmas. I'm been voluntold to come to church with my family. I don't really want to be here. I'm not a regular attender, but I have a soft heart, and the Lord's going to work. So I'm sitting in the sanctuary and I hear about this, angel tree or whatever it is that we already offer for our members, and I think I can do that. Like that's
mhm,
easy. So it's just giving them that opportunity of like, and it's, and, as churches, you can make it so easy. Like you can hand out bags, you can hand
mhm,
out, just make it the catalogs to like, click this QR code and it will open up all of the opportunities like technology and things like that you can just serve up on essentially a silver platter. It's just
mhm.
such a great way to get not only members involved who are just itching to give, especially around the holidays, but to engage those people that don't come, that it's just an easy, like everybody's heart seems a little softer
Mhm.
around the
Mhm.
holidays. And so you can just really capitalize on that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's all the like the pumpkin spice latte around the holidays
Yes.
and the
Yes.
fall and the hot chocolate. Everybody just
Yes.
softens up and all the road rage dies down and all that great stuff. So,
Where
so
do you
one of the
live?
things
Because
I know, right?
I'm just kidding.
She's in
Right.
Cali, like we don't never die down with our road rage. It's all the time, 24/7. You'd be like, jingle bells, get out my lane, fool. Right. So anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but one of the things that my church has done is we have this like resource guide, and there's
Mm,
probably 20 partners that we have in the community that range from helping people in their homelessness to job skills to uh, rental assistance,
love that.
utility assistance. Um, yeah, it's like kind of like an asset map that we kind of put in the brochure, and it's also available on the website as well, and we can point people to those trusted partners as low hanging fruit. Like, hey, if you want to serve on the weekend, we've used this extensively for like our youth and student programs, for them to get community service hours, but then also to build in
Mhm,
that Christian pillar of service, right? The
mhm,
Bible says that Jesus didn't come to be served, but to serve. So that
mhm,
has
Mm,
to be like ingrained in our DNA as Jesus followers. And so we're able to just point people to those resources, get them linked up. We're always doing something on a monthly basis. So when the holidays come, we actually ramp up to maybe like 2 or 3 times a month for opportunities for people to serve. And it's
love
just a
that.
matter of just plugging them in.
mhm,
And I think that even in kind of those systems at work, I'm always thinking of how can we do it better? How can
mhm,
we how can we really network and make the
Mm,
network so that we can network, right? And just expand our efforts so that more people are a part of what we're doing. Because if more people are helping to serve, then more people are being served, and then more people's lives are being changed and pointed
mhm.
ultimately, to the
mhm,
love of Jesus Christ in whatever way that looks like. So
mhm,
I think as community ministers, like we're always in this space of, and you got to be careful, right? We talked about this in the past episode where you don't want to be unbalanced,
mhm,
um,
Mm,
but you do want to continuously push the envelope
mhm.
and when I say network, Jesus calls us fishers of men. And so
mhm,
most effective fishermen that I've seen use nets. And so if your net
mhm.
doesn't work, then how can you catch fish, or how
Oh.
can you be one that
Mm, so
evangelizes? So
good.
we got to figure out like just different ways all the time. How do I
Mhm,
make this network? How do I clean the net? How do I get
mhm,
the
Mhm.
bottlenecks out of the net, or whatever the case may be?
mhm,
So when it comes to holidays, I think, Becky, you mentioned that this is like a jumping off point where we want to get these folks from being rah rah in November and December to
yeah.
Yeah.
being rah rah in May and June and July and all the
Yes.
things. So,
Well, and that's when
yeah.
you talked about systems. Like we had this aha moment and I have this like as a value that sometimes we implement well and sometimes we don't, but we always have to have a next step. So
Mhm.
instead of just, hey, you did it, thanks for dropping off the toy, see you next Christmas. How do we really
Mhm.
engage with people, get enough information from them to help celebrate what they've done, but help amplify the needs that continue to be there January, February, March, right? I feel like
Mhm.
those systems all pointing to the next thing and without us necessarily having to create it, because I think that can give us anxiety. Like, you said you go serve a partner once a month. I love the idea of pointing back to that because that it's already a well-oiled machine. We don't need to be creating all of these events that the church now, church
Mhm.
staff, you community ministers have to now plan, prepare, execute, and do over and over. We're training people. Look at the church for, we'll tell you how to serve instead of like, hey, let's connect you to a cause that you care about in the community and they will tell you what their needs are. It's like this different way of kind of discipling people to be
Mhm.
generous and to not just do it when the PSLs are out, right? And the Christmas
Mhm.
lights are out.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I love that importance of that delegating because, you said, we're connecting with a partner and we're kind of communicating and connecting people to those partners. But, one of the things that's really has been on our radar for a long, long time is, don't do like when the partner calls the church, it's super easy for community engagement to say, oh, sure, the church will take care of that.
Mhm.
But to
Mhm.
delegate
Mhm.
it and really engage the members, like member engagement is the point because it's so easy for us as ministers to say like, yep, we'll send all the supplies, like done, ordered, done, it.
Mhm.
But to ask the community like, hey, there's this partner and they're asking for things. Thoughts, comments,
Mhm.
questions, concerns. How would you help them as a member? Because they are the church. Like, let's be the church,
Mhm.
and really reach out and get those connections to those partners so that that relationship can continue. Is just
Mhm.
essential. So, I mean, if you are having trouble with like, I can't get people to engage, or whatever the case might be, delegation is a really big deal.
And when you're thinking about how do I not burn out my people and how do I not burn
Mm,
myself out? I think, so many of us leaders in this space, I think, have risen to a leadership position because we're a great doer. And then
yes.
we're like, oh, I think I can lead here, right? But you don't shed your
Mhm.
doerness. You just kind of go, I haven't been a doer in a while. I think at
Yeah.
Christmas I'm going to be doing a lot of shopping. But I think by delegating that to other people on your team, that is a practical way for you to have gas in the tank, for you to be able to lead well and
Mm,
to execute your what it is that you're doing at your church. And then I think when we're talking about like engaging people, I've thought about, okay, I've got somebody that maybe doesn't have the funds, but they have the time. And so how can I have
mm,
the church bridge the gap? Hey, do we have any shoppers out there? Do you have anybody that can organize?
love
Do you have
that.
anybody? So like splicing up what the to-dos might be of following through on a commitment that the church had to make. Because if an organization asks for 50 presents, we're going to say, yes, we can do 50 presents. Now I just got to figure out who can do 50 presents, right? So like,
Mhm.
how do we help engage people and understand what they're like, what are your skills? What's available? Let's engage you. And that's a win. That's their way of showing up during the
Love that.
holidays.
Love that. I'm glad that
Yeah.
you said that. It just speaking about like that well-oiled machine.
Mhm.
Some churches like listener, if you're listening to this and you're thinking like, I don't I don't know how to do any of this. Like, where do I start? How do I figure this out? They feel like, if your judgment is like, oh my gosh, these people have their stuff all together and like they have it all figured out. Like if you do, listener, if you do have everything figured out, reach out to another church who
Mhm.
doesn't have it figured out and come
Mhm.
alongside them and teach them and guide them and let them know that like, hey, we didn't start here. We started when it was in the way back and like we just tried this first. Like this was our first step. So and if you don't have it figured out, call a church that you feel like does and say, how do you do that? Help me come alongside me and watch me and teach me, and or take me along with you and introduce me to
Mhm.
one of your partners, because we don't want to overwhelm our partners, but at the same time we want to engage other people in other congregations and other churches with other pastors as well.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And that is so profound, Becky. I think that that is kind of what I was talking about is in terms of the network, reaching out. And then Erica, you mentioned like discipling um our people in the space of serving, in the space of giving, in the space of being generous. At the end of the day, we need to be discipling, we need to be developing
Mhm.
ourselves and our people. So um, when there's a project, I think as a healthy leadership, we need to know who's on our team so that we
Mhm.
know what their strong points are, what
Mhm.
their maybe not so strong points are, things that we need to work on, things that we can improve at or get better. So that might be that we're a well-oiled machine. Okay, so let's go take that oil to another church, like you were saying, Becky, and keep the whole thing running smoothly. Um, and I think that if we have this focus as community ministers and within our departments, within our churches of being a resource, not just
Mhm.
to our internal partners within our organization, but other churches around us, other organizations around us, being a resource to those that are, I love the terminology that you use, Erica, unchurched or dechurched.
Mhm.
How do we become a
Mhm.
resource to them? And so, again, the holidays are that set time of year every November, every you know that it's coming. Every November, every December, there's going to be some turkeys, there's going to be some eggnog, there's going to be some hot chocolate, there's going to be some pumpkin spice, there's going to be some gifts, some presents. You know all these things are coming. And so since we're in this space on a regular basis, let's do our very best to not just anticipate but execute well
Mhm.
Mhm.
when these seasons are here. So, what does that look like? Mobilizing your team. Okay, Miss Johnson, she's really good at going and making purchases, and Miss Sarah, she's really good at calligraphy. She can write up all the angel tree tags, and that's going to be beautiful. And
Mhm.
she feels empowered. And oh, look, the fifth and sixth graders, they are really great at just making personal
Mhm.
notes to their peer.
Mhm.
So there's
Mhm.
so many things that you can do and so many things that we can just embark on to make this time really more effective, but not just, and I think we've been emphasizing this, but I think we need to emphasize it even more. It's not just about the time of year. This
Right.
is really more so about building lives, right? So I'm building the lives of the folks that are serving and giving and being generous within my church, within my
Mhm.
organization. And I'm building the lives of those that are receiving that generosity.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Everything that we do has to be centered around that. Like, how do I get somebody a little bit closer to
Mhm.
this amazing person that we call Jesus Christ?
Mhm.
And I think if we see all of our different roles, all of our different tasks, all of our different events, all of our different projects as steps in that direction, then that is one of the things that can kind of mitigate burnout, but then also add passion to what we're doing, so that it's not just
Mhm.
something on the calendar or something that I got to show up for, but this is actually life impact, life changing things. You know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
even selecting something as small as selecting the right ribbon for a box on a gift, you know,
Yeah.
what if that could be a game changer? You just never know. So I just think
Yeah.
that mindset
Yeah.
as we
Love that.
embark upon the holidays is important.
Love that. I want to switch gears for just a hot second, and
Switch the gears.
let's get some salty. Let's get salty a little bit.
Hmm.
So, like, what happens when this is a true scenario? Like, what happens when your program, your Christmas program, you're clicking along, you got years in it, and for whatever reason, they decide to go a different way,
Mhm.
and it got nixed, or maybe it isn't growing, or maybe you went to this thing and it just didn't pan out. Like, how do you deal with that in a way that is practical? Because I think I might just be alone here, but a lot of what you do when you're in either full-time ministry or even bivocational ministry, your identity gets wrapped up in
Mhm.
what you do.
Mhm.
And so it's really important, especially around the holidays when it gets, I don't know about on the West Coast, but it gets dark at like, 3:30 in the afternoon.
Mhm.
It's just really, really literally a dark time around the holidays. So, like, what do you
Mhm.
do when it doesn't go well?
Yeah.
How do you
Well,
pivot?
well, and I think there, as a part of that, like whether you're the person that had to make that decision, and whether you're people that are disgruntled or upset about it, or even you are saddened about it, you have to represent different probably than how you feel a lot of times. I think
For
that's
sure.
really, really hard, right? Like there was a year
Mhm.
for years actually, when I stepped into my role, we were hosting the Christmas party for these foster youth, which was great, and their
Mm,
families. And we had done that, I think probably like 4 years in a row. And then they were a partner that was there when I came into my role, but I was trying to assess the health of all of our partnerships. And the thing I was noticing about this organization is I could not get them to engage with me year round in the ways that I needed our church to engage. But they
mhm.
would show up ready to request stuff for the Christmas party. And so I told them, hey, I'm going to give it another year. But if we can't figure out a way to partner throughout the year, I'm going to have to say no to the Christmas party, because hosting the Christmas party is amazing,
Yeah.
but it actually isn't moving the ball forward for us to engage people on a regular basis with a cause that you are representing. And that was not an easy conversation. And
Sure.
both with the organization, it didn't really go very well. Um,
Mhm.
and then the people that are so tied to that Christmas party, now you have to not really explain the whole thing, but just say we've decided to go a different direction, or we have really limited resources. And speaking of resources, especially at the holiday season, but like
Yeah.
you yourself, your time, your capacity, as well as your volunteer team, as well as your facilities, as well as your budget, all of those are equal resources. So
Mhm.
saying no to something, even if it's just for 1 year, people might feel like you're saying no forever. But sometimes you need to take a break from saying yes to all the things because your team needs a breather, whether they're going to
Mhm.
admit that or not, right? Like everybody wants to go,
Agreed.
go, go, go,
Right.
go. But I've
Yes.
gotten to a place where people don't want to they don't answer my call in January, February, because I've maxed them out in December. And that's not how I'm
Mhm.
trying to, not, whoa, that's not how I'm
Correct.
trying to lead out.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I had to say no, and I had to shut something down, but and we don't have a relationship with that partner any longer. But you know what? We do choose to do a Christmas party, and it's a choice. That's another thing I would say. Make sure it's a choice that you're actively making every year when you say
Mhm.
yes to
Mhm.
something. It's not
Mhm.
because you've always done it, because you could probably handle those conversations better than you think you can with your people that are upset by kind of helping shift their perspective. But you're
Absolutely.
not going to get the energy back, or the people, they're trusting you with their time and they want to know
Yep.
that it's being spent in the right place. So I just think that we could get it wrong, but please learn from your last year's holiday. Learn from this year's
Mhm.
holiday. Whenever you're listening to this
Yeah.
in the middle of the year, if it feels too late to make changes this year, then just take notes. Take stock of
Mhm.
what it is that you might change, because some of the resources on your list are feeling out of balance. They're feeling like they're not getting enough care, love, rest, time with their
Oh my God.
families. Like, we are
Yep.
called in this missional space to help move the church outside the four walls and rally people, but we're also called to be good leaders and to be good examples.
Mhm.
And your team is looking at you for how fast they should run. And
Mm.
you've got to make sure you take care of you, especially during the Super Bowl, because
Yep.
that's not the last match. We keep them coming.
Right.
There's more
Right.
needs out there.
No, that's
Exactly.
so good, Erica. And I think that it's important too, when you do have to say no to, for instance, your Christmas party, that there's also an alternative that is presented
Mhm.
as well,
Mhm.
right? And so in this case, they didn't want to take that option of building a relationship throughout the year. I remember there was a time where we had a professional football player who would buy a bunch of sneakers for middle school kids that otherwise wouldn't have much of a Christmas at all in terms of getting gifts. And these were like high quality shoes, and we did a lot of legwork to get their sizes, and the team would wrap them up, and it would be like a big dinner
Mm.
and just a big a big to do about, just having these kids experience something really cool. Well, as a professional football player, he gets traded to another city, and now he can't do
Mm.
the things that he was doing, so that had to go away because I wasn't about to use all my piggy bank to go to the Nike store and buy a whole
Right.
bunch of shoes. I love the kids, but that just
Yeah.
wasn't in my budget. Um,
Right.
so we had to say, hey, we have limited hashtag
Hmm.
no resources to do this
Right.
same event. However, we will partner in this way. And
Mhm.
it worked out that we were able to partner beyond Christmas. So I think, when you do have to pivot or, take a break from a particular event or project, it's good to have an alternative. But if you
Hmm.
don't, that's where it comes in where we're pushing the envelope to be generous in all of the year, not
Mhm.
just the holidays. So that those kind of setbacks don't really
Yeah.
impact us so deeply, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. So
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways to approach it. And sometimes it's tough. Sometimes we just got to be honest and say, like, as you were talking, Erica, I'm thinking, okay, maybe that in my head, that conversation was like, hey, you guys are just using us for our Christmas goodies, and you don't want to be with us out in public for the rest of the year. So you're just kind of, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? You're just kind of not
Yeah.
really fully dating us, and we don't feel
Yeah.
valued.
Well,
We
and I
want to
think
we
as
Yeah.
a
want to hold hands in
church,
public.
I think as a church, sometimes we don't know that we can articulate needs as well. Like and
Hmm.
Yeah.
proselytizing and like we need to preach the gospel. I think that's just not the way that we approach it. So that's not like
Hmm.
one of the needs,
Hmm.
but it's like we really value these things, mobilizing our people
Hmm.
outside our four walls, helping to
Hmm.
have them, have some discomfort and maybe changing their schedule to make a commitment, to make a difference, all these things. And if you don't offer that, man, we love what you do, but I don't think that we can partner in the same ways we have. And you
Hmm.
let me know when you have regular volunteer opportunities, and then I don't get a call. So it's like,
Hmm.
it's
Right.
okay that we have our own needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I
I think
think
it's
Don't
should
you get
we?
really
salty
Oh,
over
God.
there?
Woo.
well, what I was going to say is that, I mean, when you do get those big generous gifts, um, it's worth taking stock of like, can
Mhm.
this be, is this sustainable? I mean, you have to look at
Yes.
sustainability. You
Yeah.
have to look at, the raw truth is that will you be in this role forever? Maybe, maybe not. Are you going to
Mhm.
Hmm.
retire from this role? What if you don't? If next year you're not in your role, listener,
Mhm.
can the next person who precedes you do all the things? Like, have you
Mhm.
handed them a good, measurable, growing, sustainable ministry that anybody can pick up the ball? Because we are a team. So, like, can someone pick
Hmm.
up the ball and take it from
Mhm.
where I've been running hard and fast with it,
Mhm.
to ultimately bring about the goals of your ministry? So you have to really, and like, that's the importance of measuring. Like,
Mhm.
can you look from, year to year and say, like, actually, this one, because at Southeast we don't say, we don't kill things, we sunset things. So if
Yeah.
we feel like it's dying, it's sort of sunsetting itself. So it's like, okay,
Mhm.
how do we gently sunset this partner, these people, these relationships, in a way that's going to feel the best for
Mhm.
everybody, but at the same time, like, this isn't meeting our goal, this isn't sustainable, this
Mhm.
isn't actually providing anything other than we've always done it this way.
Right.
So that can't ever be the measurable thing, right? So yeah, that was good salt, y'all. That was real good.
Yeah. Got a little salty.
Super
And I
salty.
think I think you talking about, having something that's repeatable and that doesn't rise and fall with you and your brain or whatever, I
Yeah.
think speaks to
Yeah.
that we are talking about tactics here, but like systems, a team that's helping implement your system. Um,
Yeah.
you're going to get the shiny carrot dangled of someone that wants to, maybe somebody that wants to give all of the shoes, but you're like, but is that within our, like, man, is that going to do
Hmm.
what we're really hoping to do this Christmas, right? Or this holiday season?
Hmm.
Agreed.
So I think there's a ton of different things you can do at the holidays that we didn't really get into all the examples, but I would say make sure whatever you do, meals, clothes, Christmas parties, I don't know,
Sock
whatever you do.
knitting.
Yeah, all of those things is connected to a local partner. Like,
Yeah.
make sure it's connected to an organization that is actually walking alongside the people that are the beneficiaries. I think the days when the church goes, man, I think these puffy paint backpacks would be so cool for foster kids. Let's make 400 and then find a place that wants it. Like, let's not do that. Let's hear the need and let's respond. And so, whatever it is that your church is uniquely gifted in, work behind the scenes to find an outlet for them, and be sure that you can look someone who spent all the time on whatever that craft is. They spent all the money. You can confidently say, man, I know somebody's really going to feel special and really honored that you put this time into it because you vetted it, right? Like, we all want to believe ourselves when those words leave our mouth. And so that's how we do it. We vet it. We talk to our partners, we trust in them, we build a relationship. So, all to say, let's get out from behind the 8 ball, learn from not even mistakes, things we've tried in the past, right? And let's just know that God's in ultimate control, but we are being asked to steward our people's time and resources, our partners' faith in the church, our relationships with each other. And so as we wrap up this conversation, let's, in the name of Jesus, right? This holidays are all about him, what he's given us, the sacrifice he's made in sending his son as a babe for us because he loves us. So I think all of these things we've talked about are a way for us to convey that love by paying attention to the details and our team and ourselves. So and we're so grateful for all of you that are listening. If you're watching, it is the season of gratitude, and man, we love that we get to link arms with people like you and figure out how to get better at what it is we do each day in our communities. So Becky, Jerome, I love you guys. So grateful for you guys. And
Love you.
be sure to
Don't
tune
forget
into
to
the next
follow us.
episode because we're going to get
Yes.
into some of the holistic ways to be prepared and to really plan and protect your team and what it is you do. But until then, stay salty, y'all. We'll talk to you next time.